So we're here in Grassington. This is the National Park Visitor Centre. It's currently Wednesday morning, 7 minutes past 9. And we just stopped actually because there's some toilets there. And then we're going to head up the Dales through Buckton and up towards Hawes. So we're going to go up Wharfdale and then up over the top into the River Ewer catchment. We've just actually came a slightly different way. We didn't come through Skipton route or anything like that from where we are. We actually went north up to kind of Blubber Houses and then just followed the country route past Stumpcross Caverns to get to Grassington this way, and it avoids all the traffic. There's no traffic at all, avoids having to go through Ilkley and things like that, and it's quite a nice route, so you're just like in the countryside for the whole route. Yeah, so there we go. So anyway, we just stopped here. Quite low cloud levels actually for the time of year. There's been some low clouds and a little bit of drizzle in some places, but it's a mixture of weather scenes. So we're now just above Kettlewell in Wharfdale, Upper Wharfdale, which is what we're looking at here. So there's a little tiny village here on the wharf. Kettlewell is built on a kind of basically a bit of a fan from the stream which come down there. All the debris and things from the little stream running down there. It's a little bit higher, it's raised above the river level there. So we've just been driving along the Wharf Valley since Grassington, and then you drive another 3 or 4 minutes up here and we'll be coming to Buckton, which is another little village in the valley as well. Very steep sided, as you can see. Did have a glacier in it at one point, and since that's receded, the kind of rivers cut down and things have been moving and settling. All the kind of rock formations and so forth, and the sort of the rocks and the debris have been sort of settling and readjusting. Yeah, we're down just near in Buckton. The village of Buckton's just there. It's very small, and that's where there's Buckton Beck comes down, and there's nice waterfalls and things like that on that. But we're just down here at the main river wharf. We're not going to go up there today, but there's nice walks you can do up to Buckton Pike at the top there. You can actually go around the public footpathway to Buckton Pike, or you can just go straight up the river. There's some steep steps and rock scrambling you have to do to go up to the top that way. But here, just down on the main river wharf, there's a public footpath, and I can operate the thing. There we go. We'll have a look. The path just goes along the river itself and along the floodplain. We're just coming to have a look here. Down here at the bridge, the old bridge. What you can see in the riverbank is it's made up of all cobbles, and that's because it's just a cobbly floodplain where the river keeps moving around, and there's a lot of sediment in the whole river floodplain floor here, and some of it's come from Buckton Beck, where that's washing down a lot of sediment, big cobbles and stuff from the steep sides of the Wharf Valley. So yeah, the whole of the riverbanks is just basically floodplain sediment. It's kind of come from all these steep sides, all the gravel coming down. The path just continues across there and away and up that way. So I've brought students here before to do river sort of level surveys and things like that. We've just driven a little bit further along past Buckton, and you come to a part where there's quite a lot of limestone on the riverbed, and sometimes the water sort of disappears underground and it looks like there's hardly any flow. This is a little bit of a narrow section where there's not too much limestone to scramble across, but up there you can see all the bits where you can scramble across the river. So we're sort of on the way towards outer shore. The river splits in two in the very headwaters. One goes in a little stream which has got like woodland and so forth. The other one goes where there's more, well, the woodland's been planted on peat, the other one's more of a peatland without woodland. The sort of outer shore beck catchment. Little springs here coming out on the riverbank and flowing down into the main river. Just coming out of a little hole down there. So it must sort of, you can actually sort of see where it comes from, that like depression. Follow it along and it's just sort of flowing down through here. Another little one there. That one's dry. And actually you can see a lot of water. I don't know if you guys can notice it, but look at all the water coming out there. Yeah? So that's where you might actually have some of the, I have less water in the river up there where some of it's gone underground and it's reappearing. These little outlets here, so some of it went under underground caves and then just popping out there. There's no river or anything up here, so yeah, it just goes underground, some of the water, so there'll be, and then it reappears at these little outlets. Yeah, it's just a little bit, well, 10 seconds up the road there from just down there, just to show another spot where you've got a lot more of the sort of cut out, very higgledy-piggledy channel. So it's a bedrock channel with the limestone. It's not smooth or anything. It's all sorts of weaknesses and joints that have been worn out. You can see here then some of it's just flowing a little bit through the cracks. And you can pretty much just walk across the river, just jumping from sort of bit to bit. Another amazing bit where the water's just coming out from under the rock here. So if you look upstream there, there's less water. And there's this point where it's just pouring out the rock. Now if I just trace this back, you have got like a bit of a valley side there, so there might be water which is running down in the limestone underground here, and then it's sort of coming out this amazing point here. There's quite a lot of it there feeding in, so I don't know whether some of it might be just coming underground down on the main river channel, or whether a lot of it's actually coming down this hillside, coming out. You have to do some tracing to work that out. Yeah, so that's quite a big amount of water just pouring out of the rock there onto the riverbed. Yes, that's quite a big input point there. The proportion of water coming out of that compared to how much is running down the Wharf Channel, I mean that's like about a third. The tractor just crossed the river. We just missed it on the video, but yeah, it's just like just crossed that bit, so that's where it's like not so full of boulders. It's that smooth bit we were down earlier on, and it could cross there. Just certain points where tractors could cross, yeah. You've got the dry stone wall scenery and everything. We've come to the point now, Greenfield here, and this is Greenfield Beck, where the river splits into two. So you've got Greenfield Beck going up that valley, and then Outer Shore Beck going up that valley, and that's what, so the river Wharf basically starts in these two becks up here, and then when you get to the catchment divide, go the other side, you're running down into the river that flows down sort of into the Irish Sea instead. So at least, you know, these rivers here are flowing eastwards into eventually the Humber estuary. You can see where they have felled the conifer plantation, most of it. They've left a line of the old trees up there, and then they've replanted where they felled with new trees in some places. Other patches not yet. So they've been felling and then replanting. You also see at the top of the hill some of the seedlings which have escaped from the main plantation area and just sort of gone onto the peat on the top of the hill up there. Lots of them grown up there. So that's Greenfield Beck, which runs up that way, and then Outer Shore Beck runs along there up towards Cam Houses, and the Dales Way follows that route up to Cam Houses up that way. There's a road we're going to go along which you can just sort of see in the centre of the shot there, and that doesn't go up Outer Shore Beck. It goes over the top of the hill and then down into Wensleydale, and that's where we're going to head down that way. But on the top of the hill up here is a place called Fleet Moss, which is sort of looking at there, which is a big flat area of peatland which was all badly eroded, and they've been restoring it up there, stabilising the peat and sort of blocking the gullies up and things like that up the top of there. This is Fleet Moss. Lots of peatland restoration going on down here, and so lots of the bare areas are now revegetated, but it's obviously still challenging with the sort of hags and things there that have been eroded out and left sort of islands in between. So yeah, this was very bare, and they've done a lot of work to revegetate it, get it stabilised. You can see Greenfield catchment from back there, all the forest down to Shore Beck is down that way, and then you go over the top, it's looking towards the Ribble catchment there, that flows towards the Irish Sea, the distance down that way. So we're at the kind of top now, and then if you head over that way, we're heading down to Wensleydale, over the top. So yeah, that looking down towards Wensleydale, flowing down that way. So that's the River Ewer, which flows that way. So part of Fleet Moss is actually flowing down into Wensleydale, and part of it flowing down into Wharfdale that way. And this is there's like a peatland area which has been badly degraded on the top. And you can see it's amazing how the sort of clouds are very low and they're just sweeping in across the peatland. So if you're standing there, you're basically going to be in fog, but like blowing past you. So we're now just heading round the bend, and now we're going to go down the steep hill, which takes us down towards Hawes, and part way down Wensleydale. So this is the sort of steep hill that takes you over from Outer Shore up, go over the top to Fleet Moss, and then you head down this valley, which is one of the tributary valleys feeding into Hawes and the River Ewer. You can see how steep it is down on the left there. You wouldn't want to drive off the edge of the road there. Oop, right out in front of us. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Crazy.
You're not.
Crazy. Trucks here, I don't know if they're doing some. Just pulled over for the view, I think.
A van full of
So here we're going on this bit. You've actually got like a special bit of metal rope and metal poles that try and stop cars falling off the side of the road and going down the valley there. But you can imagine when it's icy, like very treacherous going down the hill here. It's no nice, but luckily today it's just middle of the summer, it's July. Just before you get to Hawes, it almost seems to be the same as Hawes, but there is this little village with a separate name called Gale, which is right on the river. You can see the the sort of stream down that steep valley that we've been following down flows through Gale here, and before you get to Hawes and then the River Ure itself. So there's a nice little scene here where you can look up at the sort of ford and the stream there, and then rusty vehicles here. Look at the old tractor, rusty tractor, and the river just sort of runs through the village. You can imagine during a high flow they've got this wall up to stop the river from spilling over onto the houses. There's a van going over the bridge that we're going to drive over. Look, see that? Also, Bainbridge to the right, Hawes, go half a mile over this bridge, and then yeah, look down there. See the waterfalls and all that. Yeah, see the waterfalls, Alice? Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm. So the next thing we'll come to, the taxi driver driving fast.
It's the car crash.
We'll come to the Wensleydale cheese factory now. So we'll pull in there and have a little look around that. Get these cheese samples. But we're not going to go do the tour of the actual factory itself. We're just going to pay to do that. We're just going to have a look around the little visitor shop and visitor centre. You can sample the cheese for free. So we're just coming to the entrance now. Wensleydale Creamery. Here we go. Welcome to Wensleydale Creamery.
Wow.
See, oh, there's a big lorry there, delivery lorry up there.
Fantastic.
Spaces down now we just parked up and just going to head down here. There's loads of delivery lorries like waiting to get in. There's like that one waiting to get in, that one waiting to get in. Collect the cheese and what have you. This is the entrance to the sort of exhibition part here. Different kinds of viewing, but we're going to go into the shop here. This is a little gift shop area. There's various cafes and restaurants and that with cheese themes, and then you can go in here and the store is closed to retain the cold. Alright, we'll go and have a look at these, sample the cheese. This is a sort of cheese tasting or sampling room in here. So nobody in this room when we came in, and now there's millions of people getting the free samples. I think they didn't realise you could come in here because the door said we're keeping the door closed for the cool, to keep it cool for the cheese. White cheese. There's a few things crossed off the menu there, though, isn't it? How was the cheese?
Cheesy.
Which was your favourite one?
The old Wensleydale.
Old Wensleydale. What was your favourite one?
The Fountain's Gold.
Fountain's Gold. Wow. What was your favourite one?
I like the Kit Calvert old cheese and mango and ginger cheese.
So we'll just come down to the main village of Hawes itself. The old stone cottages and everything. Oil power. So we'll probably just have a little walk around here then. Maybe go back up, have some lunch maybe, and then go back up to the cheese factory for a few more samples, and then head off on a different route. I've knitted a cream tea. It's just after 11, I think now. Or coming up to about 11 o'clock. Yeah, so just after 11. Oh, yeah. Tray or a polystyrene box so you can help yourself. Treat them a good home, it says. St Margaret's Church in Hawes. So it's named after St Margaret of Antioch. Right, so we're just having a little walk through Hawes in the Yorkshire Dales, in Wensleydale. The Methodist Church. quite a lot of antique shops. There's another one coming up through here as well. Lots of antique shops. You can hear water running, so we'll have a look at that. So that's like cellar antiques, and then there's another antique shop down here as well. Lots of antique shops. Cross over and have a look at the waterfall here. Don't drop your phone. So up that way, when you drive up there, that takes you to Butter Tubs Pass, where they used to drop the butter down into like deep sort of limestone holes to keep it cool while they're rested, or while they're sort of, yeah, for the long journeys over the top of the hill.
It's like a little craft wall down here.
This is the Dales Countryside Museum. You have to pay to get in, but we can at least just see the outside of it. That's just opposite that little art gallery thing we're just in there. Yeah, National Park Centre. You can probably visit that for free. Rope makers, look there. There's quite a few people parked here. You have to pay for parking and then pay to get in. Look at that. Dear me. 10 minutes there for free. So you can, where are we? Yeah. So we've just sort of, that little stream that was coming through was Gale Beck that we crossed with there. Yeah. There's a steam train. Getting organised there, isn't it? Pull you along. Yeah. Or is that a cafe or something? What is that? Maybe you can just go on it as part of the museum, yeah. Yeah. Rope making, so it's like the history of rope making and other things, yeah. Yeah. Tourist information. National Park Centre. Little cafe there. It's just a little visitor centre, visitor shop, but then you can pay to go in the museum if you want to. Going in for a second round now of samples. I've had a little bit of couple of sandwiches and things, and going for a second round of samples, and then we're going to head off. We're now just come up the hill from Killows, which is down the valley bottom down there. We're heading north actually here. This road which is going to take us to Butter Tubs Pass. So that's where they used to sort of dangle the butter tubs to keep them cool on the long sort of hikes over the hill and everything. So we're going to go and have a look at the park up there. You can easily go to see. Well, this is the view looking south. So if we look straight ahead, that's kind of the road we came down, that hillside down there. We had complete boss from Wolfdale over the top and down, like followed that valley down and into Hawes down there. So that's kind of where we came from, that direction. And then we continue in the same direction over this hillside. butter tubs, the limestone holes. There's a few of them around. Sheep on the middle of the road here. Standing. They're licking the road. There might be like minerals and things that they like. So this is one of the butter tubs here. So if I can pull in.
Sudden drop.
Yeah, we'll pull into this. Oh, it's a bit.
Oh, careful. Ooh.
In terms of that. Yeah. Potholes. We'll have a little look at this here. On either side here, there's one to the right, one to the left. There's one of these butter tubs. So basically, it's just like a deep chasm which has been eroded into the rock, and returning at the end of the long day at the market, they've just sort of left it there overnight and everything as a fridge. It's whoa! I think I can see the bottom. Another one there. 24 metres sort of drop to the bottom. So we're going to head down to the valley, go along the valley a bit, and then we're going to head back over again and head south again, and then head back east towards home, so do a bit of a loop. So yeah, we're looking down towards Muka down there, and tremendous amount of stone walls and everything, and of course these famous barns here. You can see a couple there all over the hillside. There's loads of them, you can see them, these little sort of square barns, stone barns, and it tells you about them. Every barn tells a story, it says. There's hundreds of them, it says, in the area. Unique style of farming, 17th century. So Swaledale, harsh cattle brought around November, tied up inside the little cow houses, so it's for cows. Fed from hay stored next to them, and then in the spring they were let out to graze. So there's loads of hundreds of them all over the place on the landscape. You can see even right down there, I can zoom in and see them. Just driven up from the River Swale, Valley Bottom down there. We've just driven up a little country lane, 25% slope on it, up the hill. It's unbelievable. Very, very steep coming up. But we're up that bit now. We've still got some more to go up there, get over the top of there. This is heading back over now to Wensleydale. But we're further down the system away from Hawes, and then we're going to go from Wensleydale back over the next hill, back into Wharfdale again. So we've done Swaledale, Wensleydale and Wharfdale. Seen all three rivers. But this has flown quite well, isn't it? Quite plenty of flow in this little stream running down. Any cars along here yet. This, maybe they're just put off by the 25-degree slope down there. It's like you're frightened to stop, but just have to keep going, keep going, keep going. Top of the hill, looking towards Wensleydale down there, and you can see here they've been cutting the heather rather than burning it in patches. They use a mower, and you can see the sort of squares where they've been mowing it. See, there's like freshly cut ones, and then in between the freshly cut, some older cut patches, so different age patches where they've been instead of burning the heather, they've been cutting it all along here. Rectangles. bomber thing coming over now. We're on the floodplain of the River Ure, Wensleydale. There it goes, look at that. Lying low, like military training or whatever, it's like doing a turn in the valley. Heading up from Wensleydale, going back up to Wharfdale, but we just sort of saw this house, and then there's like a lovely walled garden, and there's a robot lawnmower going around doing that. Just thought would show you that. And then I was coming to this Thoralby village, stone village. Yeah. So the street head in. So we're at Bishopdale, we're going to follow the road up here. We've done some modelling of natural flood management, tree planting, hedge planting and all that, what effect it has on the river flow down here. But this, because of that work and because of ICASP, we actually had an event here, and this is where I met Rishi Sunak before he was Prime Minister. He's a local MP in the area, and I have a photograph taken with him, and he actually did a video for us about how good ICASP was, one of our projects. So yeah, we had a meeting in there, the lovely lunch, buffet lunch as well. And took my photograph with him just on the grass here, I think. With his wellies on, he had his wellies on. There's another jet, yeah. Yeah, military training going on, yeah. Another jet, second jet. Straight ahead is Buckton Pike. So we've come back over to Wharfdale now, so we're just down here, takes you towards the bottom there, Buckton. So the paths when we were in Buckton, I was pointing up, wind around this hill and wind up and take you up to the top of Buckton Pike up there. So the wharf's down the valley bottom. Little waterfall on Craybeck or Craygill, down. Just went down there and then used to gauge it down the little road bridge at the bottom. So this is the road coming down from the hilltop down towards Buckton, where having followed Bishopdale up and then now coming down Craygill, following it along. Got little trees trying to grow out the rocks here. Sort of stunted growth. And back home, didn't get a chance to do much video on the drive back home just because we're making progress to get back for people coming home from school and things.